Next up, the silver medalists. New England Patriots, not an easy schedule this year. Ooh. And after going undefeated on the road last year, this upcoming road schedule looks brutal. Nick, we'll start with you. The Patriots have the 6th toughest schedule. Look at the road. Bears, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers, Seahawks, Jags. Yikes. 10.5 for the Patriots.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Obviously, that schedule's brutal. So they go from what was the softest schedule this millennia. Forget this century. This whole millennia, it's the softest schedule, bro. And to that
Broncos were right there.
And I'm gonna. Well, it's interesting you say that because it's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is the Broncos didn't even have the easiest strength of schedule this season, and the Patriots had the easiest strength of schedule this millennia. So, you know, tomato, tomato, I guess. But I'm going to say something else that is, and you know, Brew, how much I have liked Drake May, how much I've believed in Drake May, how, you know, that I said in Halloween that he's just top 5 quarterback moving forward. But I'm concerned because I've never seen Drake May play well in 2026. I've never seen
it. Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it can't
I
happen.
saw him in Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying since the calendar turned from 2025 to 2026, I've seen him play 5 games, and I've never seen him play well. So until I see it, I just
Patrick
don't
Mahomes
know
play
what
well
to tell
in
you.
2026 either, if that's where we're going.
I knew that's fine.
I just haven't seen it. I mean, I have faith.
You want to go after a friend of the show?
You're going after a friend of the show.
You go right ahead.
Drake May's a friend of the show.
Really? Drake May's been on the show?
He doesn't have to be on the show to be a friend of the show. A lot of people haven't been on the show. Whit hasn't been on the show. Brew.
So I don't think you answered over or under. Are you saying under?
Under.
Under?
This is a tough one for me, Wild. This is a tough one. Look, I was the last guy on this show to believe in the Patriots.
Yeah. You were very late.
Yeah, very late.
Down to Friday.
And then I picked them to win the Super Bowl, and obviously they lost. I feel you, Nick. I'm not mad at your under, because that schedule is tough. But I do think Drake May, while I was a little astounded by his struggles in the playoffs, I think he's going to learn from that, and I think he's going to be better next year.
Correct.
Right? His numbers and all that might not be better, but I think he'll be a smarter quarterback and make fewer mistakes.
Perfect.
Certainly than he did in the playoffs. I think Vrabel is a very good coach. I think good chance they upgrade their receiving core. I think a guy like even Travion Henderson will realize, what do I need to work on to become better? So I just think their culture is what it is. Look, it's a good chance they might win 10 games, but I'm going to say the over. I'm going to say they go like 11-6, and so I'll take the over slightly.
Let's be clear about something regarding the New England Patriots and their young quarterback. The version of Drake May we witnessed last season, the worst version, mind you, was still playing at a level that should excite any reasonable observer. It was, dare I say, approaching MVP caliber production at times. So, the notion that Drake May won't continue his trajectory of improvement, that he won't refine his game and evolve as a passer, seems misguided. Equally misguided is the idea that Josh McDaniels won't be able to grow alongside him in year 2 of their partnership. Think about what they now have: continuity. For the first time, they'll share an entire offseason with a foundation of film to dissect, to analyze, to get lost in the weeds together. They'll have a full offseason program to install concepts, to correct mistakes, to build on what worked. And on the other side of the ball, the defense under Jared Mayo's guidance will continue to develop and elevate its performance, even though, quite frankly, it doesn't necessarily need dramatic improvement. It's already a respectable unit. Now let's address the elephant in the room: the schedule. Everyone wants to talk about the schedule. The schedule, the schedule, the schedule. It's all anyone seems to focus on when projecting the Patriots' upcoming season. But here's the thing: it's the NFL. Let's be realistic about what constitutes an easy schedule in this league. What teams are truly pushovers at this point? The Cleveland Browns? The Arizona Cardinals? How many guaranteed wins are there for any franchise in today's NFL? You might point to the New York Jets as a potential soft spot. I understand that reasoning, but then you look at the rest of the slate. the Denver Broncos, the Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't see a collection of cupcakes there. I see NFL teams. That's what jumps out at me. Just professional football organizations, each with its own ambitions and capabilities. How good will the Chiefs be next season? I have no idea. When will Patrick Mahomes be fully integrated and operating at peak efficiency? Are the Bears suddenly going to emerge as this unstoppable force? What about the Lions? Are they legitimate contenders or a product of a favorable situation? The Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. How will they respond to that target on their backs? The Steelers are always competitive, but how good are they really? The Vikings exceeded expectations last year. Can they sustain it? The Raiders enter year one with Pete Carroll and Clint Kubiak. Nobody knows how that will translate. Are the Packers the dominant force some project them to be? Are the Broncos truly a juggernaut? You see what I'm getting at here. And yes, I mentioned the Jets and the Dolphins. You do get to face the Jets twice. You get 2 matchups with the Dolphins as well. That's 4 games right there that some might view as advantageous. But let's not get carried away with the whole schedule difficulty narrative. We have no idea what these teams will look like when the season actually begins. How good will the San Francisco 49ers be next year? No idea. How will the Philadelphia Eagles perform after their Super Bowl victory? No idea. The Seahawks were the best team in football last season. They proved it by winning the Lombardi Trophy. But how will they look in Week 7 when they travel to Foxborough to face the Patriots? There's no way to predict that with any certainty. I think the Broncos will be solid. I think the Packers will be competitive. The Chargers, under Jim Harbaugh, should take a step forward. The Seahawks will remain formidable. The Jaguars, with a healthy Trevor Lawrence, could rebound. The Bears, with Caleb Williams entering year 2, should improve. But how great, how special, how elite? I genuinely have no idea. And the timing of these matchups matters enormously. Are you playing the Bears in Week 2 or Week 12? Is it the Chiefs in Week 2, potentially Patrick Mahomes' second game back from whatever offseason recovery he's undergoing? Or do you catch them later in the season when they've hit their stride? The variables are endless. Here's what I do know with reasonable certainty. Drake May will be better this year than he was last year. That's not a controversial statement. It's the natural progression for a young quarterback with his talent. Now, let's examine his areas for growth. Drake May wasn't making a ton of mistakes last season. He wasn't throwing reckless interceptions or consistently making poor decisions. The primary criticism was that he took too many sacks. Okay, fair enough. So, the objective is clear: reduce the sack numbers. If you doubt his ability to accomplish this, I'll offer a guarantee. He cuts his sacks taken by nearly half. Maybe half is aggressive, but a significant reduction is virtually certain. That's a Julian guarantee. Put it in the books. And beyond that, what other mistakes need correction? He's not missing throws he should make. He's not making baffling decisions with the football. He's not getting his hand caught in the proverbial cookie jar. The foundation is solid. So, entering year 2, or effectively year 2 with an actual off-season program and competent coaching continuity, he'll be prepared to face the Broncos, the Packers, the Raiders, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Chargers. All of these matchups are fair game. Everything is on the table. What it ultimately comes down to is this. I think the Chargers have a legitimate chance to be significantly improved. I'm using them as an example because there are concrete reasons for optimism: a new offensive coordinator, a healthier offensive line, continuity in scheme. I believe they could take a substantial step forward. But how special, how elite, how great can they actually become? Again, I have no idea. I believe they have the potential to be great, to be elite. But what does that look like when they line up against a team I also believe has potential? The New England Patriots. What does that matchup reveal when we watch those games unfold? I don't know. There's no way to know. Consider the Bears again. I think they'll take a step forward. The Chargers can take a step forward. Let's focus on those 2 teams as examples, and maybe throw in the Jaguars. I'm trying to avoid the usual suspects like the Chiefs and focus on teams in similar situations. The Bears, the Chargers, and the Jaguars, I believe all 3 can legitimately improve for different reasons. Coaching staff continuity. Year 2 in a system. Familiarity with personnel. Sound familiar? It's the same situation the Patriots find themselves in. So, the difficulty of the Patriots' schedule, to me, is less about the names on the opponent list and more about the magnitude of the steps those teams take. Do they become dominant forces taking over the league? And how much of a step forward do the Patriots themselves take? I think it's entirely conceivable, and I'm using these three teams arbitrarily because they're front of mind, that all three could easily establish themselves as top-tier NFL franchises. They could all legitimately contend for a first-round bye and a top seed. That's not even a question worth debating. The real question is what that looks like in practice. We know that in recent years, the Bills, the Bengals when healthy, the Ravens, and the Chiefs have consistently competed for those top spots. And what happens when they play each other? It's chaos. It's mayhem. It's unpredictable, exciting football where anything can happen. So, when we examine these schedule matchups, especially before the draft and free agency have fully played out, I'm not going to overreact. Look, we'll analyze the schedule more thoroughly when it's officially mapped out, probably in May. Let's wait for the draft. Let's wait until we start hearing whispers from training camps. So-and-so has made significant developments. He's been working with John Smith in the offseason. The coaches love what they're seeing. Let's wait for actual information before we declare certain games unwinnable. Right now, we look at these teams and essentially project them to be exactly what they were last season. And I'm supposed to just accept that? I guess so. But I'm not getting lost in that narrative. If I had to set an over-under for the Patriots, and this is more for fun than serious analysis, 10.5 wins is the threshold for top teams. That's why odds makers set it there. All the top franchises in the NFL are clustered around 10.5. I don't recall seeing any 11.5 win projections when I glanced at the early lines. So if you're a top team, you're looking at a range of 10 to 12 wins. Nobody knows exactly where it will land. But here's how I see the schedule. There are probably 6 wins already baked into it, just based on the opponents. You might laugh at that. The Jets are suddenly going to be good? Really? Who's playing quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? I don't know. Neither do you. So, that's potentially 4 wins right there. Maybe 3, because it's the NFL and nothing is guaranteed. But I genuinely feel this team has a foundation of 6 wins before we even analyze the tougher matchups. So, let's take it to the extreme. Let's say the Bears are brutal, the Lions are brutal, the Chiefs are brutal, the Chargers are brutal, the Seahawks are brutal, the Jaguars are brutal, the Broncos are brutal. Oh my God, every team is unbelievable. The Patriots are either good enough to compete in those games, or they're not. They can either hang in there and win at least a handful, 3 or 4 of those matchups, or they can't. In many ways, a schedule like this is clarifying. It's a test. You're either a great team or you're not. And if you're not, well, now we have our answer. I think people get too anxious about schedule difficulty. Oh, it's such a tough schedule. We have to play the Bears on the road and the Lions at home. And my response is always the same. Either you're good enough to win those games or you aren't. Either you're a top-tier franchise or you're not. I'm not expecting you to win every single one. I'm not expecting you to run the table. But if you're genuinely a great team, you'll win some of those matchups. You'll win a handful. You'll at least split them 50-50. And if you do that, combined with the 6 wins already baked in, you're looking at 10 or 11 wins. There you go. That's how I see it. Those are simply my perspectives on the matter. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your thoughts. What's your assessment of the New England Patriots and this supposedly terrifying schedule? Share your opinions in the comments. I read every single response, whether you agree with my analysis or you're prepared to challenge it. Either way, let's generate some meaningful discussion. Let's engage in some spirited debates. But most importantly, let's keep it enjoyable. And please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. We're cultivating an incredible community here, and I genuinely value having you as part of it. My goal is to build something that fosters genuine connection, something we're all truly excited to contribute to. I believe we're making substantial progress toward that vision. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It significantly enhances visibility and supports the algorithm. Thank you so much for your continued support. I'll see you in the next one.